Reus has some advice for Sancho, Silva has options, two leagues plan a return, a transfer roundup, and this week's great debate all coming up in the next few minutes as I'm your host, Matt Froelich. You are the Onefootballers, and this is the Daily News. First off, and Borussia Dortmund captain Marco Reus has a few wise words for Jadon Sancho. Basically, he's trying to stop the England international leaving the club and heading back, so it seems, to the Premier League. Now, of course, there have been loads of top European clubs circling, including Barcelona, Real Madrid, Manchester United, Manchester City, and Liverpool. But Reus thinks that in 1, 2 or even 3 years as a regular starter playing at Dortmund, his transfer value is only going to skyrocket, he's only going to get better, so what's the rush? The 20-year-old has been lighting up the Bundesliga and it's no surprise that loads of clubs want him, but I kind of agree with Marco Reus on this. He's going to be a regular starter. If he goes somewhere else, especially to a top team, there's going to be competition for places, there's going to be a little bit more pressure, and he can't necessarily work through the bad patches that as a youngster you go through whilst gaining experience and learning about the game. Surely it would be better to maybe have a few poor games and still be in the team at Dortmund than have a few poor games at like Manchester United, be called a flop by the English media, have the fans on your back and then be replaced by Jesse Lingard or someone else. I'm starting to think that maybe staying at Dortmund might be a good decision after all. As for Reus and his return from injury, well, the coronavirus break has actually allowed him to regain some fitness, and he said that if the league is back in May, then he will be too. But talking as someone at the beginning of his career like Sancho to someone at the end of his career, that is David Silva. He spent an unbelievable 10 years in the Premier League, all with Manchester City, terrorising defences, but it looks like finally his Manchester City adventure is coming to an end. Now, there is a little bit of a complication over his contract, which runs out in the summer, because it could be extended to allow for the rest of the Premier League season to be finished. I mean, to allow him to play in the rest of the Premier League season. But after that, there's so much talk about where he's going to end up. First off, there was a return to Las Palmas, his hometown club, but it doesn't look like that could be happening because he might not be done at a higher level of football, no offence, just yet. There's Vissel Kobe, which is currently captained by former international teammate Andres Iniesta. There's talk that David Beckham's Inter Miami want to bring him to the States. And also there's a few options in the rest of Europe. Real Betis is supposed to be one of them, and so frontrunners AC Milan. Apparently the club reps from AC Milan and David Silva's agents met before Christmas as they tried to seal a deal. Of course, Silva can speak to clubs from January onwards, and well, it looks like he has been doing so. Of course, he is ridiculously loyal to Manchester City and they're going to give him a proper send-off, so I'm not exactly sure there's any rush for him to discuss anything just yet. On top of this, it's hardly a scandal, and if AC Milan's transfer rumours are anything to go by, they really are looking at a massive summer overhaul, including bringing in Arsenal's Lucas Torreira for 35 million. That one I can't see happening as much as the David Silva deal, but still a big possibility for the Italian club. But talking of Italy and talking about a return to action, because they are one of two nations who have put a potential restarting date on their league. Now, the Italian FA have come out and said that although they'll be looking to start training at the 4th of May, it looks like by the 28th they could be back in Serie A action. Of course, this is all developing as and when based on the latest numbers and all the latest data about when they think it's going to be safe for the players to play games and restart the league. Alongside this, Javier Tebas of the Spanish FA has said that they are also looking at quite a few dates. Now, the quarantine rules say that up until the 26th of April, no one really is supposed to leave their house. But Tebas has said that after this, they could, again, much like with the Italian FA, look to return to training after this, and maybe the end of May looks like a potential restarting date for La Liga. Of course, Barcelona just a few points ahead of Real Madrid in that one, and in Serie A, everyone really wants to see if Lazio can finally do it. So next up, in a quick roundup of the rest of the day's transfer news and things you might have missed. First off, Thomas Müller has signed an extension at Bayern Munich after some scintillating form this season. Everton, the football club, are interested in Everton, the player who's currently at Gremio, although I'm not so sure they're going to be paying his release clause of £104 million. Liverpool were the latest to express an interest in Lille's midfielder Boubakary Soumaré, and finally FIFA have agreed to move the transfer deadline day to basically between the end of this current season, whenever that is, and the start of the next one. So finally we come to this week's great debate. This is where our guys in the Onefootball newsroom pose a question for all of you. Of course, you can see their answer in the relevant article in the Onefootball app, but for this video in the comment section we want to know, What one change would you like to see when football returns? This could honestly be absolutely anything, but for me, from a purely biased point of view, I'd love to see a change in Tottenham's defensive performances. I, like many of Spurs fans, thought, Jose Mourinho is coming in. Yeah, it might be a little bit boring, but it's going to be a strong, sturdy, solid defensive unit that won't concede too many goals. Well, what on earth is 38 goals conceded in 26 games, Mourinho? I've got no clue what's going on, but with a lack of striking options due to injuries to Heung-min Son and Harry Kane, goals are pretty hard to come by for Spurs, so strong defence is more needed than ever. So there you have it. Let me know your thoughts on the great debate and the rest of today's daily news in the comment section down below. Whilst you're there, smash the like button and click here or here to check out all of the other videos we've got going on OneFootball. But until next time, stay safe, wash your hands, and I'll see you guys soon.